So today we're talking about virtual reality learning simulations. What are they? Why do they work, or the pedagogy? How do they work? When should I use them? So to start off, what is it? There's a great book by Clark Aldrich called Learning by Doing, which talks about different types of simulations, not just virtual reality, but also serious games, scenarios, interactive spreadsheets. He defines simulations as on-screen reproductions of objects and software that allows significant interaction, mimicking many of the physical characteristics of the real-life counterpart. Oh, right, yeah. So, but essentially it is learning on your face with elastic, and they just strap it on. So a VRLS is a simulation experienced through a virtual reality headset for the purpose of learning. It's great for compliance, like our fire safety demo that we've got over there, which is not a real compliance course. If you take that, you are not fire, don't go fight a fire, don't do, it's just fun. But you could do it for any kind of extreme compliance courses. You could do them for product training. One of our commercial clients used it for an anti-aging cream. So you become the cream, and then you go down onto like the cellular level, and you fix this woman's face, and you come back out and she's gorgeous, because that's how cream works. And they liked it so much that they ended up using it with their marketing. And so they now take their e-learning course and they take it to their trade shows and they put it on their customers, and it's helping their sales. So that was an unexpected side effect. But yes, create a learning simulation and then also get yourself some marketing. Oh, right, marketing. Another one of our clients, a telecom client, is also using it for technical equipment training. When you go to climb cell phone towers and what mechanics are in there and how to not fall off, which is good fun because you climb up to the top, but if you don't do it right, you fall off, and they let us add blood, which is just sick but impactful. It's just about taking learning to a different reality. No, that sounds too sincere. That's a joke. It's taking learning to a different reality, the virtual reality. It's the most immersive and interactive learning technology solution on the market, and it works. I mean, if you're strapping learning to your face, you just don't get more immersive than that. You can look in all different directions with this kit, and you are in that world, which is just phenomenal. It allows for that sense of presence, and that's something that you can't always get. In fact, you just can't get with a typical e-learning course. You click through, you get an idea of the content, you get an idea maybe of the feel or the culture or the branding, but you're not going to get the feeling of the sense of presence. So if you're doing something where you're working in enclosed spaces in a submarine and you need to be able to train people in fire safety or how to escape if, it floods, a sense of presence is going to make a huge difference. Anything to help reduce that panic, to allow them to feel like they are there before they're there, airplane pilots, simulations like that. That's really what this tech does the best job at, is making you feel like you're there, which is why it was so great for our commercial client with the anti-aging cream, because the salespeople have been that cream, and they know it works, and that translates into higher sales. It also does this wonderful thing where it gives the learners the freedom to fail. So learning can sometimes be restrictive or constrictive, where, okay, I have to focus on what's the right answer, as opposed to necessarily what's happening, how are these things connected. When you're taking those learning courses, you're going, what is right? What is wrong? I can't be wrong. And so sorry, hi there. You start to limit your employees and your staff, whom I'm assuming you're training because you'd like to invest in them. If you give them this option and you set up a great simulation where they have a freedom to try out different things, to see why things work and don't work, you'll be surprised at how many different innovative solutions that will come from your staff, where they're not any longer just focusing on what is right. They're looking at how things work, how they can contribute. How are these things connected? So why does it work? The pedagogy. We've all heard of 70-20-10, yes? Yeah, general nods. So it's the principle that in life, people like to learn 70% of the time from on-the-job experience. If you've come up with a problem and you've got a question, you just poke it, you kick it, you deal with it until it works. 20% of the time, people will ask someone around them that they think might know, or in a more qualified area, like an actual mentor or a coach. They'll go to someone who's more qualified than them. And only 10% of the time will people seek out formal training, like e-learning or face-to-face. So all of e-learning, and I think probably everything in here, all fits into that 10%. That's not on-the-job experience. It's not seeking out a mentor or coach. This is looking at formalized training, whether it's compliance or onboarding or just general upskilling. But simulations are able to make that 10% reflect the 70%, to give them as much of that natural experience, the way you naturally want to learn, as possible, in a way that other face-to-face training or e-learning courses can't. So if that's important to your learning objectives, that people learn in their natural habitats, in their natural way, that they've got that sense of presence, virtual reality learning simulations is the thing to do. It's also fabulous because of the interactivity. As Dr. David Kolb says, interactivity results in deeper learning because learners can test their understanding, learn through their mistakes, and make sense of the unexpected. Again, that's that freedom to fail. That's that sense of presence. That's that sense of being like that 70% learning on the job experience. Virtual reality learning simulations give you that chance to have that level of interaction with your environment, with the learning material itself, not just reading and answering questions, not just clicking and dragging and dropping, although those are very effective and we do those too. This gives you a higher level or a deeper level. And it's not new. There's this guy, please don't make me say his name because I'm sure he's great and I'm unworthy to try and pronounce that. But at 4th century BC, if you tell me, I will listen. If you show me, I will see. If you let me experience, I will learn. But there are things you can do where you can't actually give them the experience. Like our fire safety demo, we recreated our offices and then burned them down. They wouldn't let me do that in real life, right? Yeah, no, he's such a mean boss. But with a virtual reality learning simulation, you have the chance to have that sense of experience. So, how does it work? So let's talk about tech, the things that make the magic happen, because that's what Wi-Fi is to me. Essentially, it's software. We create it in Unity. And I say we, it's not me. The hardware, it runs on a computer, which is connected to a virtual reality headset. Now, the headset we use is the Oculus Rift. It's still in development phases. It's not available commercially yet. They're expecting it to be out in this next year. But there are other options, too. All of them do the same thing. You've got, it's virtual reality headset. They essentially display stereoscopic 3D images. So if you remember the old school viewfinders, and you'd have like little slide things, and you'd switch them, and each lens is slightly different, so it makes you feel like you're there. It's 3D movies. Yeah, okay, so they all do that, which is exciting. And then what we've also done as a way of interaction is we've added something called the Leap Motion to it, and it's this, wait, I have a laser. Woo, technology. It's an infrared display, and it senses your hands. Infrared sensor, yeah, detects your hands, which then appear in the virtual reality system simulation. Because the funniest thing was, before we did this, people would put on the Rift, and then you'd see them, there'd be an object in front of them, and it would ask you to select them, and you just see them going like this. But nothing happens because there's nothing to track where your hands are. So this sensor, you can put your hands out and you can actually grab a hold of a fire extinguisher and you can wave it around and you can break glass, which feels awesome, but it doesn't hurt your hands. Woo, magic. But essentially, it's another way you can add a level of interaction so people aren't bound to a keyboard or a video game controller. There are other ways you can interact with it, and I wrote a nifty blog on our website you can check out later if you'd like more information. One of the main questions we get is, can this simulation be scored and tracked? And the answer is no. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yes. Yes, it can with TinCan X API. Essentially, it's like a video game. Anything you want can be scored, whether it's time to complete, order process, objects found and identified, correct responses and selections. I don't know. If you want it to be like, how many times did you go like this? We can rig it so it'll grade them on that. So your idea for what you can score is kind of unlimited. And again, that helps with that whole freedom to fail. It gives people the opportunity to learn without focusing on what is the right answer. They can instead focus on what is their task, what's the objective, what are they trying to do, so what order would best fit with that, which makes that deeper learning, which should increase their effects in the rest of their life. Right, it's also incredibly versatile. So it doesn't have to be experienced on stereoscopic 3D for impact. When we create these virtual environments and virtual scenarios, we can put them in the stereoscopic 3D, which is the most cool, fun, and immersive way to do it. But sometimes people don't want that. Sometimes people might not be able to see out of one eye, or maybe it makes them feel sick. In which case, the same thing, we just pop it onto an iPad, or we can even run it. Oh yeah, there you go. We can put it on smartphones with Google Cardboard, which we've got an example over there, which is essentially a cardboard box, a magnet, and 2 lenses. You can buy it on Amazon. They're like £4. And you pop it, you run it on your phone, and so your phone becomes stereoscopic. I don't know why I'm showing you this, but so you've got stereoscopic there, and then that would layer into here, and the way the cardboard and lenses magic works, it looks like it's in 3D. So you don't have to use an Oculus Rift. You could use your phone. You can also put it on an iPad, and you can move things around. You can do the same thing with your phone. And you could take that same system that you created, and you can like record different paths in it, and you make like videos in that virtual world, and you just pop them into an e-learning course. And we've got examples of our fire safety demo, which again, will not qualify you to fight fire. Over at our stand 37, if you want to see it in a course, if you want to see it on Google Cardboard or the iPad or on the Rift, we've got all those options for you. It's also reusable. So once an environment or an object is created, it can be reused in other simulations, just like a theater set or prop. If you have built the set for The Sound of Music, then you can also, I don't know, paint it, maybe use it in Annie. I started that metaphor before I was ready to finish it. But essentially, you now have a staircase, and you can put that staircase in Hello, Dolly. Is it clear I used to teach drama? So you could do those things that you want. Once you create that, you own it. So now we've got our offices, and we've set them on fire. If we wanted to do another thing on, I don't know, sexual harassment in the office, that would be kind of weird, but we could use that thing. We don't have to recreate the office. You own it, so you don't have to do that anymore. So it's something that once you continue onto that path, it builds and it grows, so it's a good investment. You can film your VRLS, and you can create marketing materials like promo videos. We've had customers want to do that. Some people in the holiday industry film it. They create it so you can walk through and you can experience the different hotels and things you want to go to, the different destinations. But then they also just filmed them as well and put them on their website so you can, go through a virtual tour that way. And so, when should you use them? When is this appropriate? Because this is not appropriate for everything. And that's something we're very passionate about. It's the right technology for the right learning objectives. So, if your current learning isn't making an impact, depending on your learning objective, this could be a great use for you. If the learning content's too dangerous or expensive to recreate, like burning an office down, or if you have some fine-tuned scientific equipment or incredibly large airplane parts that you can't ship to everyone you need to train, this could be great. If your learners can't have access to all the products, again, we've got another client, and they work with people in the Gambia, and they can't always get all their training materials out there because of different reasons. So again, a virtual reality right there helps them with that. If you can't send an instructor, a simulation could be great. If a sense of presence is critical for your learners, but it's expensive to do it repetitively in reality. So in Clark Aldrich's book, he talks about how simulations, like airplane simulators, they're very, very expensive. The time you spend in there is very expensive. And what one company has done is they created a smaller simulation, a virtual reality simulation. And what happens is the people run through that part, and it shaves off just 15 minutes. They just do some of the things that you don't actually have to be in the giant simulator for. I don't know, rolling down the windows. I'm just kidding. Things like that. And just shaving 15 minutes off of each lesson because they were able to do that in another smaller, cheaper simulation saved them over £1 million in a year. So they can work in conjunction with more complex and higher tech simulations as well. Also, organizations that produce or use high cost and complex equipment, it's great because you can't break the simulation. I mean, sometimes it goes black, but you can't break the fake thing as opposed to the expensive equipment. If there's a high importance placed on people operating the devices correctly, again, like our telecoms client, they've got to get those cell phone towers. If you don't, you lose days of time and you can lose thousands of contracts. So, examples of things we've done. Oh, I did that wrong. Sorry. This is something we did with Let's Work Together, which I'm sorry about the quote on top of that. So it was working with the fire departments and health and safety people. I've now forgotten. Great care workers, thank you. So that they would go into other people's homes and identify warning signs and signs people might need further help. There it goes. So it's to encourage them to work together and to train them all on the same things to look for and who they need to contact. Oh, okay, I should let the fire department know about that, etc. So that was one in virtual environment, which also can be turned into a serious game, which I'm not going to talk about now, but we also do. This is Gaia Museum, and this is a really cool project. This is a museum that is working with adults with special needs and helping to bring them into the community through the cultural sector. So it's a training video for people who want to employ adults with special needs. But it shows you, we created a whole virtual version of their museum. And it also allows those who have maybe are on the autistic spectrum and it takes them longer to get used to being in a place. It allowed them to kind of tour it and get to know it before they were there. So we've got a couple pictures of, yeah, so that's what it actually looks like. And this is a simulation of it. And we can do higher detail, it just is limited on your budget. So again, you know, you've got the museum and a cafe, one of the workspaces. This is that, I said molecular, but it's definitely cellular, and I feel bad about messing that up, so sorry. It's cellular level effects of anti-aging cream that we did for our client. So, you know, you've got this lovely lady, and you zoom in and you see her skin, and oh dear, there are wrinkles. This is a problem. She needs cream. Get that. So then you become the cream, and you go down into the cells, and they glow, and it's super exciting. And you come back out, and she looks totally different and amazing. And now you're going to go off and sell the cream, and it's good fun. Burning down our offices. So yes, we've created our offices. They're lovely. I sit here, and then we set them on fire. And I chose to not take that personally. So that's another idea of something else you could see and recreate. This is what it looks like if you pop it into an e-learning course. So we've got our course, and it teaches you how to pass, pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. And then it talks to you about each type of container, so that then when you go into the simulation, you know which one to select. So, to wrap it up, you have learned what a VRLS is, other than it's hard to say quickly. Virtual reality learning simulation. You've learned why it works for learning. You've learned how it runs, sort of, and when it should be applied. So, all that's left is come over to our stand 37, which you all passed to get in here, because we got a great position. Oh yeah, and you can see it for yourself. And I will take any of your questions. No, I am that good? Seriously? Does anyone have any questions at all? Yes. Hi. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so she's asked, you know, we've got sensors that will allow us to recognize our hands. I'm just going to do that because it looks cool. We've got sensors that will allow you to recognize hands. Is there anything in the works, or does anything exist that will allow you to recognize another player? And that answer is yes, but I don't know the details about it. We do have developers who will know it, but I have seen them where you can have more than one player in the world. Is it a webcam? It's a webcam. And then they can design multiplayers. We haven't done that yet, but we do have the skills in-house to do so. Anyone else have a question? All right. Well, thank you very much. Feel free to tweet us questions. I also run the Twitter, so I'm talking to people, so we'll be a little slow to respond. But I will definitely get back to you by tomorrow. And we're over at Stand 37. Come give us a shout. Thank you very much.